So back to a new program on upper push. Instead of doing camber bar bench press, I'm going to switch to close grip bench press. Going to do that for probably a month, maybe up to 6 weeks before I start back to building strength again, eating maintenance, still on a diet right now, still losing some fat. It's definitely slowed down a little bit. So I'll be doing close grip bench press to work on especially some of the top end strength and like strength at the top end and just tricep work. So I'm very tricep dominant in my bench, and also just to give my shoulder a break. The cambered bar, eventually was making my shoulder aggravated. Just like any bench variant that I do for too long, eventually my left shoulder will kind of get cranky. So switching to this for now, just at 255 pounds for 3 sets of 8. Seems like a decent load considering especially how weak I am lately. So not too worried about weight on the bar, honestly, at this stage. It's mostly like getting movement in and doing something that's hard enough for now. And so I'm gonna be doing my second set here. And then back to the rest of the program is pretty much the same. So I'll kind of talk through what I'm doing and why I'm doing it when we get to those. So next is going to be incline bench, which I've been doing for a long time. Don't really plan to change it out. Pretty much anybody I'm working with at any one time has some sort of incline pressing variant for a few reasons. One, it's kind of an inherently weaker movement, and so you can get good training stress for less weight, which means less injury risk and generally less systemic fatigue. And it tends to be easier on shoulders. So the older someone is, the more I tend to keep this in play. Because it just doesn't tend to beat up shoulders quite as badly or wear them out. And so I'm just doing 185 for 3 sets. The first 2 will be 8. The third set will probably be pretty much to failure, which last time was like 5 reps. Weight on this or reps on this have been going down as I've lost weight, which is kind of normal and natural. And so instead of adjusting the weight down, just keeping the weight the same, and considering this to be generally adequate volume for pressing overall, especially in light of what I just did on close grip. So we'll run a set of this. So you might remember the way I like to set these up if you can. Some benches it's harder to do than others, but I will slide up and press it out from here and then slide back down to acquire my position because it's so awkward to press it out of the rack. So I'm still keeping dumbbell flies in the mix. They've been very useful and I haven't run out of a road on those as far as I can tell. But I did switch do things a little bit differently. There's a lot of discussion online in the evidence-based community and elsewhere around range of motion and all that stuff and partials and everything. My take is there's a time and place for all of these things. And if you're training for pure strength for competitions, then partial range of motion bench press isn't in your best interest typically. It could be an off season though, depending on what you need to emphasize. In this case, I'm cutting these short. So I'm getting a big stretch at the bottom, about as far as I can reasonably go safely, and only coming up about probably 60% of the way, just past half. And the reason I'm doing that is from here to here doesn't do much for the pecs. You're almost upright at that point, and so it's not gonna do as much. Whereas if I stop here, it does a couple things. One, it allows me to keep a very consistent tempo easily, so it's mentally nice. But the other thing is it keeps tension on the pectoral muscles. I actually find that doing partials out to about here or so just past halfway, I actually can do less reps because at the top you get a break. But if you stop here, you don't get a break. The tension never leaves. And so a set of 10 with 30 pounds in each hand is definitely harder than when I was doing full range of motion. And so that's a slight change that I've made for chest hypertrophy. We'll see how it pans out. Either way, it's going to be useful, but I actually think that this is one of those times that partial range of motion can have merit if it's done thoughtfully and for the right purposes in the right context and to serve the right goals. So I'm keeping face pulls in as well. I've maxed out the stack. So I've gone up to 3 sets of 12. I might switch this to my other cable set eventually if I want to keep doing them, because that one goes heavier. But for now, this seems like enough work. So 3 sets of 12. So what I'm looking for on face pulls is that someone's not using their biceps to pull it in. So you want to be careful of not turning this into some sort of curling movement. And so a way to do that is to make sure you keep your elbows kind of coming out so that you're pulling back. And these, it's kind of like a deadlift, but think of it for just the forearm. You're just pulling, you're not, these are almost like chains. The forearm should feel more passive. So just pulling back and also keeping it somewhat high. You don't want to pull into your chest. You're actually pulling into your face. It's a face pull, so that you're engaging and getting that shoulder rotation this way and not like just purely like this. And I, because of the height, will be leaning back to keep it more of a 90-degree angle to my torso. Notice how I'm letting my shoulders roll forward at the front. I actually want that for the upper back. Okay, so I finished this day with tricep press downs cable machine. I like the just old V metal handle. A lot of people don't like these, they like the ropes. I don't prefer the ropes just because I don't like them. This is what I like to use. So I already did 2 sets of 10. I'm gonna do a 3rd set of 10 at 190 on this stack. Keep in mind that each cable machine is different, so it doesn't necessarily compare to anything that you might be doing with your cable machine. And I take 1 minute rest. I just finished my 2nd set. I will be then doing drop sets. So I'll be going down to 160, 140, 120 without any breaks to sort of like finish off the triceps for the day. And so maybe you'll be able to see a comparison. They're obviously already somewhat pumped up right now. But probably at the end, I'll do the same thing and they get painfully swollen by the end of this. So let's go. So not really resting in between, just going right to the next set. Note that I'm standing a little bit away from it. There's plenty of movement. I like to be away to get better tricep isolation so that my head's not in the way of the cable. One thing that can kind of help towards the end when these are getting hard is actually to death grip the handle. One more set. Typically, this is pretty much to failure. The 120 right now feels heavier than not 190 did earlier. And triceps burns are some of the worst burns. So maybe you'll see a difference here. Oh, that hurts so bad. So I don't even know if I could do a push-up right now. So that's why I've been doing these. Drop sets do have a place. I think in the past they've been overused, but I think for like a finisher, for something you want to emphasize, which in my case is triceps, I like the arm size, but I'm also very tricep dominant in all my pressing movements. And so this is part of my road to get back to a 405 bench at a lower body weight. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you next time.